can't see much because the sun's in my eyes, but anyway, it's good to see what other people take out with them in their packs, because it gives you ideas, and their ideas might be better than yours. So I've started putting together my pack. It's nowhere near complete, but I've started taking it out on my back just to see how heavy it is and how well I cope. This is a British Army military radio pack, well, of days gone by it is anyway, where the radio would be in the main pack here, and then you've got these two detachable side pouches or back pouches there and there, and you've got one little fixed pouch underneath. So at the moment I've got this packed full of stuff that I might typically take out for a 24-hour stay, and at the moment it weighs 13 kilos, which is not too much. I don't want to go much above 15 kilos. 13 kilos is about 2 stone, almost exactly 2 stone. So this is the pack I've got to live with at the moment anyway, and I've changed it round a little bit because I had all the heavy items in these side pouches and the lighter tarp and a bivvy bag in the inside and a bit of clothing on the inside, which was lighter. So that's taking your centre of gravity further out, which I didn't think was too good. So I've swapped it round a bit. Anyway, I started without you slightly because I've got the first item out, which is the tarp I'm sitting on, and this is just the tarp I use for a ground sheet. And I've also got 4 really heavy pegs with it there. I think I could cut down a bit of weight with those pegs. But I'm going to go through it anyway, show you what I've got in it, and you can have a laugh and tell me I should do something different, and if you give me good enough reason I will listen to you. We'll start with the outside pouches, and this top one here, I've taken this first tarp out of it, which doesn't take up a great deal of space. It's is it doubled or it's trebled over at the moment, so it's 4 times bigger than the area I'm sitting on. And I've got another tarp in here which you've seen before because I did that one on setting up the tarp with the knots, and that's the tarp I use for that. So effectively this would be my ground sheet and this would be my cover. I've also got in here, this is in the wrong place, well it doesn't really matter, but this is a bivvy bag anyway, Gore-Tex bivvy bag, an ex-army issue Gore-Tex bivvy bag, so that's waterproof in its own right. You all know what one of these is, a shimag. It's just a big dishcloth basically, and that can be used for keeping you cool in hot weather or keeping you warm in cold weather, or filtering your water, or use as a bandage, or I'm sure a small pillow, lots of other things. And all else I've got in here at the moment is a bag of mixed nuts. So I don't know whether to pack away and start the film again at the end of each compartment, because I've done a lot of filming and found out I haven't been filming anything, or I haven't had the sound turned on. Let's have a look. Right, I'll go up the second compartment then. And in here I've basically got clothing. I'll come to that in a second. But I've got a spare fleecy type jacket and fleecy type trousers, so if I got soaked I could use my shemag to dry myself off. There's another use it's got, as a towel, and at least I've got a bit of dry clothing I could put on. Or if it gets cold I could put an extra layer on. And then in here I've got a woolly hat, and in the woolly hat I've got a dust mask, an air filter, so you could use that for filtering your water. But do I need it to filter water with? Probably not. Whether I really need that or not, I'm not sure. Jury's out on that one. I've got some gloves, but these aren't leather gloves, so I need to swap these out for some leather gloves really. When you're mucking about with fires and things, you really need leather gloves. The mozzies aren't out yet, but the mozzies will be out before long, so I need a mozzie net. Spare pair of socks. Good thing to have a spare pair of socks. Probably good to invest in a pair of woolen socks. I've got safety glasses which are smoked, so they'd also double as sunglasses, and there's some earplugs in there as well. Oh, that's what the noise is. Polythene bag you're getting out and blowing away. And then I've got toothbrush and toothpaste and a bar of carbolic soap, or a small bar of carbolic soap anyway. And that's it for the woolly hat. So that all fits in the woolly hat. So we now come to the, there's that fixed compartment on the bottom there, but we'll come to that last I think. I'll go up the main compartment now, and I can zip this right round. And open this up. Get to everything in here. And this is my heaviest bag here. That's my tools bag. I'll show you that in a minute. Cordage for the tarps. I've got more than that, but that's for now. I've got in here my cook set, which consists of a cup, a water bottle with a litre of water in it, clean water, a Crusader stainless steel mug which has a Teflon coating, but I wouldn't get one with a Teflon coating. I don't know whether you can see, but the Teflon's coming off, so it's going to come off, so why bother getting one with a Teflon coat? And I've got the Crusader little stove, which the hexi blocks fit in the bottom there, and that flips across. This is just a little stove I made with cotton string and candle wax, and it worked quite well. Flip that across, stick the mug on top, boil your drink, put your drink in your mug, start again with your meal. All basic stuff. I have got a lid for this, I've said that before. It's the heavy cover, it's heavy, so I tend not to use it. I tend to use just a piece of silver paper or an old pie dish. Silver paper off an old pie dish. So that's basically cooking sorted out, and while I'm here I might just as well get a brew on the go. I'm going to try something here. Well, I'm going to show you something. These are my hexi blocks. I've got them wrapped in toilet paper with a laggy band round them. Now it's quite windy here. I don't know whether you can hear the wind noise because I've got a foam cover on the mic. Right. Here's my brew kit. These are current British Army matches from the standard 24-hour ration pack. I've got a friend who's in the reserve and I asked him to get me these. That's the striker. And there's the match. Now, I'm not going to attempt to light anything with this first match. I'm just going to light the match because I just want to see what it flames like. I'll move a bit closer. There's not a lot of flame on that, is there? There's a little bit of flame, a little bit of more flame than I remember. And there it is gone. There's not a lot of flame on there. So you've got to know what you're dealing with. So that's why I wrap them in toilet paper and a laggy band. Put it down just here. Right, let's see if I can get it going without embarrassing myself. Right, well I'm going to whip through the next bit quite quickly because the last warning I had was card full, so I've had to delete some of the stuff. Right, so my tools bag, that's my brew kit, put that away, that was in my pocket. I've got my morer with 2 needles for sewing. Fishing kit, monofilament line, I've got hooks in there, I've got a candle in there, I've got beeswax in there, I've got normal sewing needles and a thimble and some linen thread. Super glue. A good old backhoe Laplander. Yeah, that's what I just used, those matches. In there I've got a magnifying glass, so that could be used to start a fire on a day like today. Keep bringing them out, don't I? Some just normal polythene electrician's tape, some more cordage, a lighter, and a good old Leatherman. This is the Leatherman Wave. So ordinarily, you know, that's not a legal carry anywhere in the UK, which is a shame. So, while I'm out here on the farm. Alright. So that's tools. I've got another bottle of water in there, 300 millilitres of sterile water, and that's to be used in emergencies and kept really for use with the first aid kit, but if somebody's suffering from hyperthermia, they might need it. Right, that's the other hexi block. This is my navigation bag, and I've got in here the Sunto MC2 compass with the gimbaled or double gimbaled pointer in it, because not only do I use this in the UK, but I also have used it in Australia. In fact, it's still got red dust on it. Still got red dust on the mirror, and you get that. The mirror can obviously be used in conjunction with the first aid kit, as can a lot of these items. We haven't come to that yet, first aid kit. I've got a protractor in there, and I've got a roll of toilet paper to protect the compass and the protractor. I've got a wrist mounted GPS in there, I'm not getting it out, and it's got 2 sets of batteries, and those sets of batteries also fit the head torch, or flashlight as you Americans call it, and that has a red and a white or bluish white setting. A whistle, which ordinarily would be in my pocket. It's got a temperature sensor on it, which is a useful indication. It's a P-type whistle with a plastic P in it, and it's also got a compass on it. Now, a lot of people don't rate these compasses, but I know this one points north-south, so it's a good indicator, and I know to be careful with it. It's fluid filled, so as long as you really do check it, it gives you a good indication of north and south. You should always check your compasses. I've had a compass once where the red needle pointed south. I also like to carry a small pair of binoculars. As you get older, your eyesight's not that brilliant, and it's a good safety asset. Looks like tea's up just as we finish the navigation one, so I think there's only first aid now to do, so hopefully the card will last out for that. So I'll just get my cup of tea, mate. Right, so I've actually got coffee. That boiled very quickly with one block, and it's still going now, but I did put a bit of wood on it, supplement it. Just a fluorescent jacket for when I want to be seen. So in here then, I've got my first aid kit, but I don't see a first aid kit as a first aid kit in isolation. There are lots of items that you've already seen that I would consider useful in a first aid situation. You've got the magnifying glass, you've got that bottle of emergency water, which is another reason you should always keep. Well, I think, I'm not telling anybody what to do, I'm just saying what I do and why I do it. Clean water in my normal use water canteen. If somebody gets a bad burn and you want to cool it down, they're not going to be too happy if you're pouring orange juice over it. So I think it's a fairly good idea to keep only water in your canteen. The mirror, we've seen the mirror. The whistle for calling for help. In any first aid situation, to my mind, the first thing you want is, if you can get it, some assistance. Most places in the UK, not by no means not all, but in fact there's some places not too far away that I go to where have very dodgy signal. But I've got a very strong. Oh, have I? No, I haven't. No. I haven't got a signal at all here. Oh well. I'd have to move. Anyway, first aid kit before we run out of card. First thing I've got here is EMT shears. Scissors, I can use them. Just because they're part of my first aid kit, in this bag I will not restrict them to just first aid. Out in the woods, my bushcrafty type bag, scissors. If I need scissors, I've got scissors. Right, I think this is probably a bit full for this bag. I might thin this down a bit. Let's get the bag out the way and we'll open it up. Right, I'm not an expert on first aid. I'm not going to tell you what to do in a first aid situation. All I'll say is I am the first aider at work, and I've gone through a few courses, and I have treated a few people, including myself, mostly with absolutely trivial things, but some with reasonably serious life-threatening things. So, first thing, first aid is don't make the situation any worse. So if you can, well, not if you can, before you treat anybody for anything, you assess the risk. Depends on the situation. Common sense. And then I've got, two pairs of gloves. You might have time to put them on. You should have time to put them on. If you haven't got time to put them on, you're probably scrambling for this thing, which is the emergency bandage, also known as the Israeli bandage. If you do any chainsawing, get two of these. 2, what size is this one? This is the 6-inch trauma wound dressing hemorrhage control bandage, also known as the emergency bandage or the Israeli bandage. I open the outer package. There's another package inside. I've got 2 packages to open to get to this. When I keep me one in my chainsawing bib, it's out of the first packet already, so I've only got to open the second packet. But the reason I say get 2 is because although there are instructions on how to use it, and once you're familiar with how to use it, it is fairly straightforward. If you've never seen one before, you could get slightly confused. So I would recommend you get 2 and practice with the first one. Israeli bandage. I mean, the good thing about this is it's not just a field dressing. You can use it to apply quite considerable pressure to the wound site. Not necessarily tourniquet pressure, but it'll definitely help anyway. Zinc oxide tape, small roll of micropore tape. If anybody's suffering from hypothermia, then you've got a space blanket, but I'd take this as well because you could also use it as a signalling device, just like the mirror. But you could you make a much bigger one out of this. I've got some antiseptic wipes, and these are alcohol based, so there's another side to your fire starting kit. That's potassium permanganate, and that needs diluting further, but I would dilute that down, or I'll replace that with iodine. So you can use that as sterilisation of your hands. The wound, that would need diluting down before you did that though. And water disinfectant as well, with just a couple of drops of that. A saline solution, I can unscrew the top of that and use it as a wash, clean your eyes out, clean a wound out. As I say, if you're going to super glue a wound up, make very sure it's clean. And then we just come into, there's a little set of instructions there. We're coming to basic adhesive and non-adhesive dressings. So the adhesive ones are going to stick themselves, and the non-adhesive ones you're either going to use the tape, the micropore tape, or I've got 2 bandages in here, 2 little bandages. Something else that needs changing out, but is worth having, but not in this form. I've got a much better one than this, and that's a pair of tweezers, and that can be used for taking splinters out, or scraping bee stings off, or taking debris out of a wound. Getting back to this tin, I've got some medications in this tin. Well, I'll go through what I've got in this tin. I'm not going to open it and spread it about, but I've got wrote down here what I've got. I've got 2 sutures. Not that I would use sutures, I would use steri strips first. I've got safety pins, I've got more super glue for steri strips, plasters. We call these sticky on patches plasters, but you call them band-aids, I think, you Americans. Aspirin, if you know somebody's definitely having a heart attack, then an aspirin's probably a good idea. Indigestion, that can really spoil somebody's day. Ibuprofen, more water purification tablets. I don't know whether I mentioned I've got them in here. I've got 18 litres worth in here, plus some effervescent vitamin tablets. I've got some more matches in there. another sewing kit, so I'm unnecessarily doubling up there. I'm going to have to thin out a bit. A condom, I don't know why I've got that in there, but you can use it to start a fire with. I've done that before and it is really easy. Some Benadryl, although Benadryl's right, so the battery ran out there, so we were on to Benadryl I've got, and I'll probably add Piriton. Sometimes if I get badly stung by the bees, especially in the neck or on the face, I'll just take a Piriton tablet just to lessen the chances of me swelling up and choking myself or something. There's a couple of things I may not have mentioned, I don't think I did, and that's the pack. While I'm out and about, I've got a map that covers this area, and I've also got this. This is the North York Moors. Well, this is the area we're in. I'm on the edge of the North York Moors. I'm on the edge of it, but the map covers the North York Moors in this area. And I've got a Write in the Rain notepad with a pencil, a pen and a Sharpie fine point indelible writing. A notebook is tremendously important. You might want to make notes of all sorts of things, especially if you have a casualty. You need to make notes. Not that this is specifically about first aid, but my first aid comes up for renewal any time now, so that's why I'm thinking about it a bit. So that's it. This is probably a bit big for what you need just for a single use, and as I say, a lot of things in your normal pack would double up for first aid, and similarly a lot of things in your first aid pack can double up for normal use. But it's best to know what you've got and what uses it's for. That's why it's good to know what other people have in their packs, and that's why it's good for people to say, well, you know, you don't do that, do this. Fine, I will, I might. Right, well, I had a few technical issues out on the hill there, so I just thought I'd finish off. What it was the SD card was full. Anyway, we got through the full contents of the pack, and this is my starting point. I'm sure things will change as I learn a bit more and as I do different things, as I'm staying out overnight. There's obviously food to go in there, and I need some sort of blanket, maybe some better ground insulation as well, but we'll see. Anyway, true to form, for a bank holiday weekend, it's been raining continuously all day long, so I'm going to get in a minute. So I'll just say thanks for watching, and I'll be back with you in a week or so. I've got something in mind, but I'm going to need some assistance for this next one. So once again, thanks a lot, and I'll catch you in a week or so.